Howdy, and welcome to the Highline Herd podcast, where stories ride strong and the bond between folks and their horses runs deep. Each Sunday, we're talking everything from trail tips and tack to good old horse sense and the people who live it every day. Keep up with the herd by following us over on Instagram at the Highline Herd and swinging by our website at thehighlineherd.com. Now, let's ride into today's episode. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Highline Herd. I'm Skylar.
I'm Shelby, and today we're going to be talking about trails.
Yahoo!
I know it's kind of a common theme in this podcast, but as we come back to it, that is Skylar and I's biggest passion.
Yep.
With these guys is trail riding. So we did have an episode earlier on, I think it was like episode 9, where we kind of talked about preparing for trails, but in that episode we really focused mostly on fitness and what do you as the human bring with you in your saddlebags, or when to use your saddlebags. This episode's gonna be more along the training side of things, the desensitizing side of things.
It's gonna focus more on your horse specifically and their brain. How do you get them ready mentally for what could happen on a trail?
Yeah, and it's, making sure you are mentally prepared to handle it, because I know some people, their horse spooks a little bit and they're like, oh my goodness, we're gonna die. It's like, no, he Bambi spooked. Y'all are okay. You'll live.
Well, and I've also heard of folks who are riding, and I've had people riding with me while I'm leading or guiding trails. Their horse does something and it just ruins the entire experience for them. They get into their head, they overthink things, and then they shut down, and that ruins the whole ride.
And then, their horse feels that, and then their horse doesn't enjoy it either.
Exactly.
So, this episode's just about kind of trying to make you guys aware and hopefully help you guys figure out how to best prepare your horse for this. Because, people go, oh, it's just a trail horse. Well, reality is they are some of the most versatile, dependable, best trained equines out there.
Yeah.
So, let's talk a little bit about what can they encounter. So, biggest thing is footing.
Oh.
So, when you're on a trail, make sure your horse is prepared to lose their footing. They can comfortably stumble and slip and not panic. So, the biggest thing to remember is your horse doesn't want to fall. But some horses don't always think through the lack of balance, the lack of footing. They just go, oh my goodness, I'm falling, we're all gonna die, and they panic. You can kind of see how on a trail that wouldn't be the best.
It's not good. No. No, I have seen that, and it is not fun to watch. And I can tell you the people who are experiencing it and riding through it are not happy either.
And it does increase your danger. I mean,
yes,
because, a panicked horse is a horse that has lost pretty much all sense of self-preservation in one regard, and they're just focused on getting their feet under them as quickly as possible.
Yes.
That means they could slip more and land on you. You could fall off and land under them depending on the terrain.
Yeah, and that's somewhere you never want to be.
You never want to be underneath a horse, much less a panicking horse.
Mm-hmm.
So, that is one of the biggest things, is be prepared for your horse to lose their footing, because they are going to. It's an inevitable fact of riding on rocks and hills and mud and whatever else.
Yeah.
You ride through the water. You can't see what's under the water. Your horse is gonna lose their footing. So biggest thing is be prepared for that. Make sure your horse can handle that, because there's gonna be so many situations where your horse isn't going to be in control of something. Things are gonna get stuck to their tails. Things are gonna get stuck to your stirrups. Things are gonna get stuck under your tack.
Things could happen where you have to get off quickly. Something else you could do is practice emergency dismounts.
Oh,
how quickly and safely can you get off of your horse or mount your horse?
And, what does your horse care about? Can you mount safely from a log without your horse panicking? If you do fall and get stuck in the stirrup, can you do that without your horse panicking?
Mm-hmm.
Can your horse stand quietly regardless of what the group is doing? That is probably my biggest pet peeve, is horses that don't stand still for mounting.
Or spin.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean,
it's a recipe for disaster. It really is. So, as much as we want our horses to not panic when they slip, we want them to stand still. Standing still is one of the best things they can possibly do.
Yeah, or even working with your horse and getting them to the point where if something were to happen, say you were to come off, their first reaction isn't going to be bolting or freaking out. Hopefully their first reaction would be to stand still and wait for you. But we don't always get that.
We don't, but that's where things like practicing emergency dismounts come in. You can practice emergency dismounts, and this is where I will say treats might just be your friend in training. Mm-hmm. If every time you emergency dismount and you hit the ground and your horse comes back to you and they get a cookie,
reward that.
Yeah, they're going to be more inclined to stick around when you come off for reals.
Yeah.
So, it's all about just preparation. Does your horse stand quietly for you to mount even when the rest of the group is 7 kinds of fired up and rearing to go? Does your horse stand quietly for you to dismount? How quickly can you do those 2 actions if the situation calls for it? Because, not every time you dismount can you dismount in a slow, calm fashion. No. Sometimes you're going to be dismounting and throwing your horse's reins around a tree and rushing to help someone else.
Yeah.
Especially if you are the most experienced in your group or the leader of your group. You might have to leave your horse behind. Can your horse handle that?
Yeah, there was multiple times on the trail that I had to do that and go and attend to my clients that I was leading. And I felt confident in Willie leaving him be or just tying him to a tree or even handing him off to somebody else. Be like, hey, just hold my horse for a second.
Yeah, and you gotta be sure you can do those kinds of things.
Yep.
Your horse cannot be entirely dependent on you as the sole human, but also, the group. Your horse has to have some self-sufficiency, some independency in their thought process. So, that's why we say a trail horse is one of the best horses you can have because they have the ability to think for themselves.
Yeah.
And that is a gift beyond measure for certain
for
certain situations.
Yes.
So it's definitely like, your horse slips and stumbles, and if they can think for themselves, they know where their feet are going, they know how to get them back under them. Or I have seen some horses just, quote unquote, take the fall and they go down to their knees and then they get up and figure it out.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing. Can your horse calmly and confidently do something like that? Because that is the safest option.
Yes.
It's not the most ideal. We don't necessarily want that stress on our horses, but it is unavoidable in some circumstances.
Yeah.
So if your horse starts to slip, are you comfortable in how they work through that? If your horse goes down to their knees, are you comfortable with that? Because it's not just about them being comfortable. It's about you as well.
Yeah. No, I've seen so many accidents and incidents on the trail where horses have gone down, people have come off, that it's just something that I do all the time with my horses. I make sure that they will at least stay in the relative area if I were to come off, or, fasten them to some place that, I can come back to them after dealing with whatever happened.
Yeah, and things are going to happen, especially, as we say with horses, it's never a matter of if, it's a matter of when. But when you're trail riding, all of that risk just doubles.
Yeah.
So a big thing, a baby I sold she did not like noises. She hated noises behind her. If she couldn't see the thing before it made the noise, she wanted to bolt and spin. So the only fix to that is more wet saddle pad time. More situations where things are going to pop out. But can you, as the rider, deal with that level of spook? Can you deal with that? Because it's only going to get better through exposure. Can you expose them?
Yeah.
Can you, even if you can't trail ride every weekend, can you at least mimic the circumstances?
Yeah.
So, loud noises are the biggest one because things are going to jump in front of you on trail. Deer, turkey, birds are going to fly over their head, around their head. If you night ride, it could be bats flying around you guys.
Yes.
So, your horse has to be prepared for everything. Above them, under them, in front of them, behind them, in between their legs, under their jaw. So if you have a horse that's really sensitive in the body and does not like things where they can't see it, trail riding might not be for you and your horse. Because it's inevitable.
Yeah. Like I will say, for me and Willie particularly, he does not like when I take off my jacket or like a coat or anything of that type, or even put something on. He doesn't like that rustling sound where he can't actually see it. It's in his blind spot. So for the most part, like with him, I just work with him, go slow, or I'll dismount, put whatever it is on, and then get on him again. And that's just something I have to do because I take his mental space into consideration while I'm doing those things. And I know how he is. I've had him for so many years, and it's just easier for us.
Well, and taking your horse's mental consideration into place also helps you know, like, you know, you're both enjoying it.
Yeah.
Not every horse loves water, and if you're going on trail rides that require a lot of water crossing, it's not going to be fun for you or your horse, because your horse isn't going to want to do it. You'll be forcing them through it. Mm-hmm. So, you know, when you're looking at trails, and you're thinking about, you know, what can we confidently handle, you know, like Skylar does. Sometimes it's just easier for her to just get off wheelie and take her jacket on off. It's not that he's necessarily gonna blow up, but it does not make him happy.
Yeah.
And she doesn't want to sit there and, you know, try to convince him that it's okay when...
Yeah. It's just less stress on him.
Yeah.
Something else that he doesn't have to worry about, essentially.
Yeah. And in this episode, you know, we talk about preparing your horse, but sometimes we do things or not do things because of our horses. Yeah. If you know you have a great trail horse, but they hate water, then just avoid water. No horse. Like, I could say no trail horse, but it really goes for every single horse is gonna be perfect. Yeah, no. They're not gonna do everything. This episode is just about helping you know how to desensitize them to things and what to desensitize them to.
Things to focus on, things to think about, etc.
Yeah. Like slipping and stumbling. I started with that because that is the biggest thing that is going to happen on a trail ride.
Oh, yeah.
Your horse is going to slip. They're going to stumble. They're going to try and climb a log. Why? Because in their mind, that was the best choice. And you're just a passenger now. So can you confidently be the passenger and let your horse figure out the situation they've put themselves in?
Yeah. Well, and that's a big thing that I see a lot of, at least when I was, you know, always on the trail. People who let their horses think and pick their own path on the trail usually are riding a lot happier horses than the ones who are micromanaging and adjusting and pulling and telling their horse exactly where to go, where to put their feet, etc. So being able to just let your horse think things through, think the trail conditions through and their path and plan that all out, it goes a long way. And it's a lot of trust that you're putting in your horse.
Yeah, and you know what? That's probably the biggest thing on a trail is trusting one another. Yep. Because, you know, our last episode was solo riding. You cannot ride solo unless there is a degree of trust between you and your horse. Yeah. Whether you're at home or off-site. There is a degree of trust there. You can argue it all you want, but there is a degree of trust there.
And it takes an immense amount of trust to just be able to do this, because it's very much a team effort.
It very, very much is, because reality is there are some situations you're not going to be able to dismount. You might want to dismount. You're not going to be able to. Mm-hmm. It's either not safe to dismount, you're not in a good area, or reality is dismounting is the worst way to lead them through whatever it may be. Yeah. I had one instance where Valor decided to engage his draft genes because that was the day we wanted to do that. And he locked his neck and went to climb a hill. On that situation, I have two choices. Do I ride it out and wait till he gets to the top and then reassess? Or do I try and get off when we're on a hill that's pretty much vertical? What's the safest option there? Riding it out and then just assessing after how he's moving.
It didn't help too in that situation. You were in a sandbank that was so deep coming out of the water that he was sinking into his belly.
He was. He was not good. He was pretty much on his belly for the entirety of that. And that was poor judgment on his side. Yeah. Because reality is, this is the other harsh truth people don't want to talk about. Your horse doesn't care. At the end of the day, they're always going to be stronger than you. Oh, yeah. And if they decide to do something, whether you're bitless, bridleless, whatever, if they decide they're going to do something, they're more than likely going to do it. Mm-hmm. And that's all this situation was. It wasn't a, you know, oh, you didn't steer, you didn't drive. No, I ride a draft cross who's 16 hands and almost 1,400 pounds. He's going to outmuscle me if he decides he really wants to do something. Yes. Yeah. So, you know, it's about preparing your horse and you for trails is, yes, you want to be as prepared as possible. You want to make sure you have your brakes and your steering on. but also understanding sometimes
They got a mind of their own.
sometimes they just are going to do their own thing.
Yeah.
We want them to choose their own path. We want them to think independently, and sometimes that does not work out well.
Mm-hmm.
But reality is, you as the rider are going to make mistakes too. Skylar did this in the same area too. The ground looked solid.
Oh, yeah.
And then, you go to walk on it and Willie sank up to his hocks. So,
yeah.
And that's bad judgment on the rider's part, right? Just as Valor made bad judgment trying to climb the hill, Skylar as the rider made the wrong judgment in where she walked on the bank.
Mm-hmm.
Those things are inevitable.
Yeah. Things like that are always going to happen. There's going to be miscalls, misjudgments, etc. But you have to be able to move forward with them.
How do you and your horse handle those missteps? How do you handle trees getting stuck in their tails?
Mm-hmm.
Do you freak out and oh my gosh, I have to take care of it right now? Or can your horse handle it till you get to somewhere quieter and safer to deal with it?
Yep.
Is your horse accustomed to rear cinches? You need a rear cinch. There are some trails you have to make sure your saddle is secure on their back. So, can your horse wear a rear cinch without bucking? Yeah. You don't want to throw a rear cinch on for the first time and then just go out and ride them like normal.
Let it go.
Yeah. No, that's not going to work in your favor.
It's definitely, if you're bringing a new piece of equipment into the equation, you always want to test that equipment in a controlled environment, someplace that's comfortable for the horse, whether it be familiar to the horse or someplace that you can control them confidently, so like an arena or a round pen, etc.
Right. And you know what, make sure they're prepared, because there's certain things you are going to have to use on the trails just to keep both of you safe.
Mm-hmm.
Britchins, croupers, they help hold your saddle in place and keep it from going too far forward or side to side.
Yep.
But they have to sit under your horse's tail, especially the crouper. Can your horse handle that?
Yeah. Can they handle pressure under there too?
Yeah, I know plenty of horses that they're fine, they seem bomb-proof, but something gets under their tail up against their butthole and they're like, nope! And that's the end of that.
Yeah. Which I don't blame them.
Yeah, something just suddenly appeared by yours, you'd be a little like, So, when you're thinking about trails, make sure your horse is prepared, because they are going to trip, they are going to stumble, they are going to get tangled, they are going to sink.
Oh, yeah.
Do you guys trust each other to figure it out? Can you trust your horse if you have to hop off and there's nowhere to tie him? Can you trust your horse not to run off? They might wander for, from snack to snack, but can you trust them to stay within your vicinity?
Mm-hmm.
Can you hobble them? There are so many considerations you have to take into place when preparing for trails that is so far beyond, make sure your saddle fits. Make sure you have this, and this in your saddlebags. You can have the most prepared person in the world, but if the horse is not prepared mentally, then you're not going to have a good time.
No, it's not going to be fun for you and for the horse.
No.
Or anybody that's with you, too.
Yeah, things are inevitably going to happen. Turkeys are going to jump in front of you. The amount of deer I have encountered on the trails is absurd. Because here's something interesting. Here's a nice little fun fact for y'all. Deer don't care about humans when they're with horses.
No.
One, I think part of it, the horse smell covers up some of the human scent.
Yes.
But two, to the deer, we kind of mesh into the horse.
We are one entity.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, they don't care about horses. They're not really scared of horses.
Oh, yeah.
So, can your horse deal with wildlife coming up to them?
Yeah.
Because it's not unheard of for deer to come to horses.
Oh, yeah. I've had horses that I'm riding on the trail. Heck, Willie. First time I rode Willie on the trail on our property, a bunch of deer ran out in front of us and he lost his mind. It was his first time seeing deer like that. He freaked out. Which I don't blame him. I would too if I saw weird things that kind of looked like horses running around. And goodness, I stayed on, but it was an experience, to say the least.
That's preparation though, right? You learn, make sure they're prepared, because it's going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
And that is why, in a couple of our other episodes, we say it. Hand walk them like a dog, because some of those spooks you can deal with easier on the ground.
Yes. And it builds confidence.
It really does. And it builds confidence in you as the handler, and it builds your own confidence within yourself.
Yes.
Which I think is a huge one, is having some self-confidence. So, when you're going into making sure your horse is trail ready, desensitize, desensitize, desensitize.
Mm-hmm.
Things are going to fall off of them. Things are going to fall on them. There are going to be noises and sudden movements. There are going to be things that supposedly appear out of nowhere.
Yes.
There's going to be footing shifts. There's going to be stumbling and slipping.
Let's circle back on footing particularly, because I don't think we really touched base on this. That's a big element of it. Can your horse comfortably go through all different types of footing? Water, mud, clay, dirt, sand, all of that. How do they behave? Do they like things more than others? Do they hate one thing? That's just stuff to keep in mind, because I know there was plenty of horses who hated mud in Hocking Hills.
Oh my goodness, the amount of horses that hate mud, and I'm like, you're a horse. Or, horses with vision issues. So, yeah, Willie has that spot in one of his eyes, and then, Valor's got the cataract in both eyes. And when you're going through puddles, take into account the sunshine.
Yes.
That sun can affect how deep the puddle looks to your horse.
Mm-hmm.
Or it can affect the shape of it.
Yep.
So for horses with vision issues, sometimes you want to encourage them to really get their nose down and touch whatever they're crossing so that they don't panic and leap 10 feet over it thinking it's a big old hole.
Yeah, or even give them grace going in and out of light and dark areas. Let them adjust a little bit. Keep that in mind. If your horse does have vision issues, don't just write it off as like, oh no, they're just going to be not able to see this. They might be more inclined to spook at certain things.
Well, and here's a tip too. One that I actually don't see a lot of unless the horse is diagnosed, with uveitis or something. Don't be afraid to ride in a fly mask.
Oh yeah.
I have found that riding Valor in a fly mask, he is much quieter because nothing's bothering his ears, nothing's on his face, but it also does help him deal with the light shifts a lot better too. Mm-hmm. And you're going to deal with a lot of light shifts if you ride in the woods.
Yeah. I remember there was this one lady who she was riding and hocking, and she would wear a full, fly sheet on her horse. And then she herself would have, a bunch of, swats and stuff. But it was because her horse didn't like the flies. They would always bite it. And, that's the system they came up with. And it was very ingenious the way that she wrapped it around him and everything.
You know what? At the end of the day, trails are about safety and comfort.
Yep.
And if you have to go out basically looking like a beekeeper and your horse is cosplaying as a beekeeper to be comfortable, go for it.
Yeah.
Because, just like we try not to limit our lives just because we have a discomfort or an issue or an ailment, we shouldn't limit our horses either.
No.
Your horse can love trails and hate flies.
Oh, yeah.
I love being outdoors, and I hate flying things.
Yeah.
I'm saying flying things because it could be a bird or a bug. I don't like it flies. That's enough for me. But I love being outside. Mm-hmm. Horses can be the same way.
Yep.
They can hate mud, but love going for a trail ride, love going cross country. They're just a fair weather horse. So, trails should always be fun, and they should always be safe.
Yes.
So...
key is safe.
Yeah. So just make sure you're doing what you can for your horse, whether it's fly masks, constantly putting them in situations where they have to learn how their feet need to go.
Yep.
Back them over stuff. That is one big underrated thing.
Yes.
Back them over things. Back them over uneven terrain. Back them down hills.
Can you back your horse up in general?
Yeah.
That's a big one.
Yeah. That's actually a huge one. The amount of times we have had to back the boys up or spin them on very tight spots is make sure your horse can do it. And that's what we meant at the beginning of the episode when we said a trail horse can be the most versatile, dependable, athletic horse. It is for that reason.
Yeah.
They have to have the agility of a cow horse and a jumper. They have to have the endurance of a racehorse. And they have to be able to just move and go with all this agility that other horses don't have.
Yep.
It's one thing riding in a manicured arena, but when you ride where the only maintainer of the trails is Mother Nature, you're going to get yourself in some sticks. And
get ready to bushwhack and make your own trail at some point.
Can your horse bushwhack? I know so many horses that can't bushwhack.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I have one I wish wouldn't bushwhack as easily as he does.
Or throw you in the bushes.
He's 16 hands. I'm always in the bushes or the trees.
Yeah.
Everything is maintained by short people.
It's so nice being on a short horse.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. It's very nice. You're spoiled.
Yes, I am.
So, yeah, this episode is preparing your horse's mind for trails.
Yep.
And, yes, it was a fun episode. It wasn't super, structured, but that's how trails are. They're not structured.
Yeah. You gotta have fun with it.
You do.
Otherwise, why are you doing it?
Why do you have horses if you're not having fun?
Yes. Yeah.
Everything that goes with them, you gotta at least be having fun.
Yeah. To make up for all of it.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
Make sure your horses are prepared for trails. Make sure you're prepared for trails. And we'll see you guys in the next episode.
Yep.
Oh, and while we're on the topic of trails.
Yes, we want to start a new segment in the show called Trail Tales. Now, this is going to be stories from you guys, the listeners. If you have a story that you want us to share, it could be an experience on the trail, a beloved story about your horse, your favorite memory, a funny story, all of it. We want to hear it. So feel free to send us an email with your said story, and it might be featured on the show someday. We hope you enjoyed this week's topic. Join us for new episodes every Sunday. And to keep up with the herd, be sure to follow us on Instagram at The Highline Herd and visit our website at thehighlineherd.com. We hope you enjoy the show. See you next week.